just rest nice and easy, Tom. I wanted to bury you at sea, but it just weren't possible. But you're not too far from the sea now. It's just over that next hill. And I reckon that most days you'll hear the sound of the gulls crying. And also smell the sea. This is only temporary, like. I'll get you a proper headstone as soon as I can afford it. And that's a promise, lad. I'll be off now to Liverpool to settle matters with James Onedin.
Will you not sit down, Mr. Pearson?
When I called at his office, they said he'd just left for home.
Well, I'm sorry you missed him at the office.
I've been missing him for some weeks now. I've been very patient with your husband, Mrs. Onedin. More patient than most would have been.
I'm sorry. My husband does not discuss his business.
5 months now he's been owing me.
If you will kindly excuse me, Mr. Pearson.
I come home for lunch and find you waiting for me by the door.
James.
Now, that's the sort of thing a husband likes to see.
James, and Mr. Pearson is waiting to see you.
Oh, aye. Mr. Pearson, eh? Jack Pearson. Why, I haven't seen
Too long,
you
Onedin.
You're looking very well.
It's not good health, just a flush of impatience.
You'll get your money, Jack.
Aye, but when? It's 5 months since your ship left my yards. I was warned not to let her go until you'd paid up.
Warned? By who?
Others who can't get the money from you. But I was fool enough to trust you.
Oh, you can trust me, Jack.
I'd sooner have the money.
Well, I haven't got it. It's no small sum, you know.
Don't I know it? Close on £2,000, and I need it now. These are hard times for all of us, not just for James Onedin.
Well, they are especially hard for me, but you'll get your money, I promise you.
Another one of your schemes in mind, eh? Well, have you or haven't you?
Well, as a matter of fact, I have.
And who are you planning to stab in the back this time?
Well, you'd better leave the house, Pearson.
Oh, aye, and still without my money. Look, I don't care how you come by it. I want my money. I'm warning you, I'll not wait much longer.
Mr. Onedin isn't here, Mr. Van der Rede. He's still at luncheon.
Then I shall wait for him here. Where's Mr. Dawkins today?
Mr. Dawkins no longer works here.
Indeed. And however did Mr. Onedin come to lose such a valued and trusted employee?
I didn't lose a valued and trusted employee. I got rid of him.
Ah, I see. For giving away that malt whiskey contract to Captain Baines?
No, for betraying confidences.
If you will kindly excuse me, sir.
Dunwoody,
Mr. Van der Rede.
you might just write down Mr. Dawkins' address for me before I leave. I see no reason why your loss should not be my gain.
What is it you want, eh?
That three-master that you were going to bid for.
Not changed me mind.
Because you were afraid that I might outbid you?
No, I thought you had come to gloat, have you?
I believe that you were prepared to go to 9,000 guineas, I think.
Got that from Dawkins too, did you?
I bought her for 8,400 pounds.
Well, then perhaps you'd care to have this survey. Of more use to you than me now. I got it from the man who sold her to the man who sold her to you. Not nearly as seaworthy as she looks, is she?
I vowed I'd beggar you, Onedin. And I'll do more than that before I'm finished with you.
Captain Baines!
I want to talk to him.
Mr. Onedin, Mr. Onedin's not at home.
Not to talk to me, you mean?
You'll either find him at the office or taking on stores. He's sailing soon.
So he's heard, has he?
Heard?
And he's running like a frightened rabbit before I get back.
Sure, I don't know what you're talking about.
Out of my way, woman.
He's not at home, I tell you.
Come out and show your face. Damn you, hiding behind a woman's skirt.
Just keep your voice down, will you? Mrs. Onedin's in there and she's been ill.
I came here to speak to him, and I'm not leaving till I've had my say.
I've told you, Captain, you'll find him at the office.
Stand aside there, I'm going in.
Then you'll be stepping over me. Mrs. Onedin's alone in there, and I'll not have you pestering her.
Now listen, I've never laid hands on a woman before, but if you insist on sheltering the murderer...
Murderer? What you saying, man?
Yeah, that's what he is, no less, a murderer.
Mrs. Gibson, what is going on here? Captain Baines? I'm sorry, Mrs. Onedin. He insists on talking to Mr. Onedin, and I've told him he's not at home. Kindly explain yourself, Captain Baines.
Well, whatever happened, and however I may look, I'm still a shipmaster. And I came here to speak with him, and I'll not be sent away with excuses like a common lackey.
I've told you it's not an excuse, damn you. He's not at home.
Thank you, Mrs. Gibson.
Ma'am, I don't like to leave you alone with him.
Thank you, Mrs. Gibson. I shall ring if I need you. Please, come in, Captain Baines. Will you sit down?
No, I'll stand, thank you.
I hope you do not mind if I do. I am still rather unsteady on my feet. We have not seen each other since you left the Onedin line. I was sad to hear of your leaving, but glad to hear you bought your own ship and...
The poor lad didn't even have a proper funeral.
The lad?
Young Tom. See how selfish I am? Talking about my pride as if it really happened. And after all these years, working at sea since I was a little more than 12 years of age, I didn't have enough money to buy the lad a piece of ground of his own to lie in. So here I am, in borrowed clothes, looking for faces to punch and bones to break, because I can't bear the grief I feel for that poor young soul.
Tom? Dead? But what happened?
Oh, you must have heard.
No. At least I have not.
Well, I lost my ship. She caught fire.
I see. And young Tom?
Oh, he was burned. Burned something terrible. Damn your husband, Mrs. Damn him!
I'm sorry. I don't understand.
If he'd tried to show some sympathy for the lad's feelings, if he'd treated the lad right, young Tom wouldn't have run off like he did, and he wouldn't have been sailing on that damn devil ship of mine.
But my husband said that you enticed the boy away.
That's a lie. I understood Onedin gave him permission to sail with me. And it wasn't until it was too late that the lad told me the truth.
And what was that?
Onedin drove him to disobedience, and to breaking his articles, and to joining me in my ship. Onedin is to blame for that lad's terrible end. Like he's to blame for a whole lot else.
What else?
Matters I turned a blind eye to at the time. God forgive me. And you know one of them.
Do I?
Rheede's brother. But it'll all catch up with Onedin soon enough, you'll see if it don't. And the Lord and the devil will make him pay for the things he's done, and I'll be along with him with all my strength. I've nothing against you, missus. I just fear for you, that's all. I mean, that lad, he died in my arms. And I'll never forget his poor burned face as long as I live. And I'll never forgive Onedin. Never!
I almost passed you by, Captain Baines. I hardly recognized you.
Oh, please, I borrowed. I just got back to Liverpool. I'm grateful for the ride.
Well, I'm on my way to my club. Why don't you dine with me?
Perhaps some other time, sir. I've just got to get back to my lodgings.
Well, then I'll take you there. Niles Street, isn't it?
Aye.
I was told that you had bought a ship of your own.
Yeah, the Sea Spray. It was my first voyage.
Successful, I trust.
I lost her. She caught fire.
Oh, no. I'm truly sorry.
I wonder if you ever knew young Tom Arnold.
Tom Arnold? Oh, yes, an apprentice. Oh, I see. You mean that he was...
Strange. No more than days I've been away, and it seems like months, years even. I had an affection for the lad. He was like a son to me. James Onedin. Damn the man, if it hadn't have been for him, Tom wouldn't have been aboard.
What will you do now?
I don't know, and I don't much care.
Let us meet again tomorrow at my club. We can talk then. Oh, come along, man. You can refuse to eat, but not a drink or two. A man can only bear so much. Do you think I don't know?
Brother Theodore.
We'd heard there was a ship on fire at sea. Never thought for a moment it was Baines' ship. That drowned.
Burned, he said.
Oh, go on. Baines say anything else?
Oh, not much else. Where are you going?
Baines' lodgings.
No, James, don't go now.
Losing a ship and Tom. He'll want someone to talk to.
But if you can wait till morning.
Oh, he won't be sleeping much. Neither will I.
No, James, please.
What's the matter? What's wrong?
Hold me.
Hey, you're trembling.
You are right. I am not well yet. I cannot wait to sail away from here.
The news about Tom, it's upset you, eh?
Yes. Yes, it has.
There's something else?
I'm frightened for you.
Frightened for me?
That man who came here this afternoon. Other men you owe money to. Captain Baines. You have so many enemies.
Oh, you're seeing dangers where there are none. Hey, we both of us need to get away from Liverpool. We'll sail as soon as I get a crew, eh?
Where will we go?
Oh, Holland. Yes, there's a couple of people owe me favours in Amsterdam. Now, we'll pick up a cargo and then off we'll go.
How dare you turn your back on me?
And how dare you come bursting in here like this, pestering me? I have no wish to talk to you either now or in the future.
Well, whether you wish it or not, I will be answered. Have you dismissed Miss Mumford?
Yes, I have. Now, will you please go?
Now, you listen to me. That woman has cared for my children since they were born, and I will not stand by and see...
You will not stand by. Let me remind you that you have no say in the matter of their upbringing.
They are my children.
Whom the court has placed under the care of Samuel, not you.
Are you telling me this is Samuel's decision?
Samuel entirely agrees with me. Those children have been overindulged. They need discipline. That is why I have brought over Miss Muller.
Children need love and affection. Obviously, that is something you are quite incapable of giving them.
Oh, but of course you are so brimming over with love and affection for your precious children that for months you haven't even bothered to come and see them.
I've been away, as you well know.
Yes, parading on a music hall stage, flaunting yourself in public.
I'm told the only thing you flaunt is your father's money.
I beg your pardon.
After all, you have little else to offer.
Get out of here. I find it extremely distasteful talking to an adulteress.
Caroline, shut! I will not have such behavior in my house.
Then I'll leave.
Not without an explanation, you won't. Well?
This person has dismissed Miss Mumford and installed some martinet she's brought over from America.
Because of that, you both start fighting like a pair of alley cats?
Well, I thought you'd be concerned, at least for Robert's sake.
If I feel that either of those children are not being properly cared for, then I will have plenty to say.
And so will I. I'm leaving for Bristol tomorrow. Aunt Mary has my address. If there is the least thing wrong, write to me, and I shall come home immediately. Goodbye, Aunt.
How could Samuel have ever married such a woman?
I should think at this very moment Charlotte is thinking exactly the same thing about you, Caroline. Time we left to dine with James, I think.
Samuel.
Ah, good evening, Max. Max? I'd like a word if you have a moment.
Certainly. Oh, but don't look so serious. We're still friends, I hope.
Yes, of course we are.
Good.
That paper I sold you, my Uncle James's debt. You didn't tell me you were going to turn up at his office demanding instant payment and £500 interest into the bargain.
Oh, but surely he told you the reason for that.
The reason? No, he didn't.
Ah, well, I was simply paying him back. You see, I was interested in this little three-master, and your uncle knew she was unseaworthy, and yet he let me go ahead and buy her. He's a very shrewd fellow, your uncle.
Well, you'd be wise not to cross swords with him because he generally wins.
Yes, I'm sure he does. Oh, I almost forgot. Congratulations on your marriage.
Oh, how did you know?
I know everything. I make it my business to know everything. I have to. I gather that the fortunate young lady is extremely beautiful.
Who tells you that?
No one. I happened to catch a glimpse of the two of you together in the park yesterday afternoon. Now you must come and have supper with me.
No, I'm sorry, Max. We're dining with my uncle tonight.
Ah, well, then you must give him my regards. And you and your wife must both come and have dinner with me one night very soon.
Yes, we will.
You promise now?
I promise.
Good. I will just have to find another companion to while away the evening.
Ah, Elizabeth. Now then, what's this you've heard from Daniel?
I'm sorry, Aunt. I rather thought you'd mentioned it.
Oh, it's only a rumour. Perhaps I shouldn't. Oh, well, you may as well know. Daniel was talking to Sir Gerald Langley.
Oh, what does he want this time?
Nothing. It's just that he told Daniel that the Queen wrote you a personal letter of thanks for conducting Prince Alexander to Bulgaria.
Aye, well, she did, yes.
The Queen wrote you a letter?
But, James, you did not tell me.
He didn't tell any of us. But what's more important, the Queen may have it in mind to reward you in some way.
Oh, James, you are to be honoured.
Isn't that just wonderful?
No, just a moment. It is only a rumour.
Oh, James, surely you are pleased. You ought to be honoured. Well, have you nothing to say? You ought to be feeling proud.
Maybe I should. Only I've done a lot of things that I'm not so proud about.
Nice for once to have supper that's somewhere, well, not so out of the way. Nice a man not caring about being seen.
That is the one advantage of not having relatives. One can't meet them at awkward moments.
You're still in Liverpool for good now, I suppose?
No, only until I finished my business here. Just one moment. How did you come by this?
Don't you think I'm worth it?
Just answer the question, Betsy.
Perhaps it was a gift from an admirer. I do have a lot of admirers, you know.
What if the police were told and they were to ask you how you came by it?
Well, then I'd just have to tell them, wouldn't I? Here, you're hurting.
Just tell me, Betsy.
All right. But let go, then. Listen, I don't want my head stove in, so I'm not saying his name.
I didn't ask you for his name.
Well, all I know is from time to time he comes up on business from London.
Business? Oh, yes, and we both know what that means.
Anyway, last time he was in a hurry.
Ah, the police were after him.
Yeah, he asked me to keep it safe for him.
Safe? And you keep it in here? My dear Betsy, I think you'd better let me take care of it for you.
Oh, no. What happens to me when he comes back for it?
Well, how long is it since you last saw him?
6 months.
Then perhaps he's in prison. I only want to borrow it, that's all.
Borrow it? What for?
Don't you trust me?
How long would you keep it for?
Just a few days. That's all.
I just had her refitted. It cost a penny or two. As I'd only just bought her, I couldn't pay the bill. But Percy Hobbs down at the yard, he was very decent. He took my contract for the whiskey charter as surety. Not that it's going to do him much good now.
You had her insured, of course.
No, I couldn't afford it. Look here, sir. You said once that you were looking for a good shipmaster.
Yes, I did indeed. But tell me, Captain Baines, as a shipmaster, how long would it take you to repay your debt?
Long enough to get my head down from the clouds and any fancy ideas I had of owning my own ship.
For a man like you, with your experience and having worked hard all your days, you should have your own ship.
A man doesn't always get what's due to him. Leastways, not on this earth.
Sometimes he does. Now then, about your debt for refitting of your ship. I hope you won't be offended, but I have already settled that. So, whatever I pay you as a shipmaster, you will be able to save to buy yourself another ship.
Oh, look here, sir, I'm truly grateful, but there's no need. I should be under an obligation.
Oh, I'm sure we'll find a way for you to free yourself of that obligation.
You have something in mind?
Shall we have another drink, Captain Baines?
Oh, no, thank you, sir. I got to be going. I got things to do, and even property to be returned.
Property?
I've been with Onedin a long time. Things of his I've had for years, you see. I want to sort them out and get them back to him by tomorrow. I don't want anything of his.
What will you do? Take them back to his office?
No, I slipped the stuff aboard one of his ships. He'll know who it comes from right enough. I want to be shot of him for good.
My carriage is outside, Captain. Let me take you back to your laundry place.
You're Jack Pendleton, are you?
That's me.
Yes, I've heard about you. Yes, ship's cook, first class, am I right?
My previous masters have always been well satisfied with my dishes, sir.
Oh, have they now?
Here, look. I've got letters if you care to look at them.
No, that won't be necessary. Now, then, have you looked over the ship?
Aye, it's come straight from her. Been over her from stem to stern, sir. Of course, I normally serve aboard much larger vessels.
Oh, doing us a favour, are you? Yeah, Mr. Dunwoody said, how did he put it? You were suddenly and unaccountably available.
Yeah, well, I suppose that is correct, sir.
Yeah. Well, I'm hiring you because I want my wife to eat well on this voyage. But I warn you, I'm acquainted with every recipe known to ship's cooks for lining their pockets at their master's expense.
Oh, but I assure you,
now,
sir.
do you understand?
Yes, Mr. Henning.
Right then, well, you can start by cleaning the galley up.
You know what?
Last cook left it in a filthy state. You waiting to talk to me?
No, I'm returning a Onedin line property. We've nothing to talk about.
Oh, you were most anxious to talk to me the other day. Ranting and threatening. My wife barely out of her sickbed. She made no complaint. I heard it all from Mrs. Gibson.
What did you expect me to do? Sit in my lodgings nursing my grief like a sick child? I'm not that kind of man. But have you nothing to say, damn you?
Yes, I have. I'm sorry about your ship.
Oh, damn the ship, timber and canvas. What about the lad?
I'm truly sorry about the lad. I know that you and he have become...
What about you? Are you saying you've no whit of feeling for him?
No, I'm not saying that. Because I had. And I'm not saying that I didn't feel some measure of guilt for his death. Don't you?
Well, whatever the truth of it, I'm leading my life my own way from now on.
Working for Max van der Rheede?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Onedin.
Yeah?
May we come in, sir?
Looks as though you already have done.
Inspector Garrick is my name, sir. This is Sergeant Newbold.
Oh, aye. Don't mind telling me why you're here?
Just making a few inquiries, sir. Be helpful if you could answer one or two questions.
So long as that's all you want. I'm getting ready to sail, so I don't have too much time to spare.
I see. So you're in a hurry to leave. When exactly are you sailing, Mr. Onedin?
As soon as I've got my crew together.
Does that mean you're already loaded?
No, I've no cargo.
Really? Where are you bound?
Holland.
Indeed. For what purpose?
To pick up a cargo.
And what cargo would that be?
The one that fetches the biggest profit. Now listen here, Inspector, I haven't got the time
Mr.
to sit
Onedin,
chatting.
I take it you won't object if we make a search of your ship.
A search? What for?
Start here in the saloon, Sergeant, and the cabins.
Now, just a minute, not so fast. Now, look, what is this all about, eh? Now, hang on a moment. I haven't given my permission yet.
I'm afraid we don't need it, sir. You see, I have the due authorization.
And why the devil do you bother to ask me? Look, what is it you're looking for exactly?
To be honest, sir, we don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Life must be one long surprise for you and your crew.
Just acting on information received, sir.
Information from who?
It wouldn't help you to know. Certain wretched souls are paid to pass it on.
Hello, Lady Fogarty speaking. Hello, Samuel. Arrested? Has Margarita been told? Well, I shall leave right away and meet you there.
Well, you must have had some notion of what your uncle was doing.
Some notion of what he was doing?
I'm sorry if I speak American, but I am American. And from an eminently respectable family.
Well, Uncle James is quite innocent. There's just been some terrible mistake.
Indeed.
Thank you, Mrs. Gibson. Caroline?
Elizabeth?
Samuel.
Aunt Elizabeth.
Thank you, Mrs. Gibson. What exactly did this police inspector say?
Very little. He seemed reluctant to talk at all, but apparently they received information and, acting on it, they searched the ship, discovered a diamond necklace and promptly arrested Uncle James.
Well, what's he been charged with?
Receiving stolen property.
It'll get into the newspapers, won't it?
About this necklace?
Apparently it was stolen from a house in London.
How on earth did it get onto James's ship?
Aunt Elizabeth, I don't know.
Well, have you spoken to James?
No, but Inspector Garrick said he'd arranged for me to see him.
Oh, it's all a terrible mistake. I mean, it can't come to anything, can it?
No, of course it can't.
Well, in any case, how serious is the offence?
Oh, I don't think we should start worrying about that, Aunt.
You said it wasn't very serious. You were lying, weren't you?
Caroline.
Answer truthfully. Just how serious is it?
Well, Samuel?
According to Garrick, the necklace was stolen from a dwelling house. Now, legally, that single fact is very important.
Why?
Because if anyone is found in possession of goods stolen from a dwelling house, then that in itself is sufficient evidence for the police to prosecute.
Well, yes, but surely they'll look and...
They don't need to look any further, Aunt. You see, the necklace was found aboard Uncle James's ship. He was on his own. He hadn't even signed on a crew. So, yes, I'm afraid it is very serious.
Then it will get into the American newspapers. And Father will think I've married into a family of...
It's just as well you stopped when you did, my girl.
I apologize. But it has been rather a shock.
It's a shock for all of us.
What's wrong? Is it James? Has something happened to him?
No, he's quite safe.
Then what?
Margarita, James has been arrested.
Arrested? But what for?
Aunt, come and sit down.
No, just tell me, please.
He's been arrested for receiving stolen property.
Yes, but it's all a mistake, of course. He'll be home with you again in no time.
And what will happen to him?
Nothing, as I say. It's a mistake.
But if it cannot be proved to be a mistake?
He would come before a magistrate.
And then?
Well, he could recommend, if the evidence is sufficient, that Uncle James be tried at the next sessions.
I see. And what will be... could be his punishment for this offense? I have a right to know!
It's punishable with up to 14 years penal servitude. But even if Uncle James were to be convicted, it would only be his first offense, so I doubt he'd receive more than 2 years.
Don't be so silly, of course I didn't buy it. I'd have told him if I had done.
It's just a thought, Uncle. So we come back to the fact that someone must have put it there deliberately. You've no idea who it might have been.
Any wharf rat could have slipped aboard during the night.
Yes, but why? Why hide it in your ship's saloon? Why should they then inform the police? Uncle, I have the feeling that you know who it was.
Of course I don't know who it is. Do you think I like me? Shut up in this place! Listen. I don't want Margarita to come here. I don't want her to see me like, well, it would upset her.
Yes, I understand, Uncle. I'll keep her away.
Yes, good.
It's a gross injustice for a man like you to be in here.
A man like me, eh? Here, have the police traced Pendleton yet? The cook that I signed on?
No.
Well, then they better get a move on, haven't they?
They're not even looking for him.
What?
Uncle, all they need to prove is that the necklace was in your possession. Now, unfortunately, you can't deny that it was found aboard your ship.
No, of course I can't.
Added to which you were preparing to sail on your own with no cargo. They do feel there's a case to answer.
I see. see. Well, then, if they won't look for Pendleton, you find him.
All right, I will. But are you sure Pendleton's the man?
Well, who else could it be?
Well, Inspector Garrick did mention one other thing.
What was that?
He said he'd found out that Captain Baines was aboard that day.
Yes, he was.
Well, then, don't you think we should
Look,
check?
let's just get along now. Find Pendleton. Forget about Captain Baines.
Loyalty, indeed. You may call it that. I call it madness. Plain madness.
He insisted that Captain Baines would never stoop to doing such a thing.
I know, but the very fact that James is protecting him.
Oh, that doesn't necessarily make Captain Baines guilty.
Samuel Baines blames your uncle for the death of the boy. Didn't he even go round to the house raving and threatening?
Yes, that's true. And he did lose his ship.
And he's still in debt for the refitting of it.
No, that's been paid off.
Oh?
Percy Hobbs told me. Max paid it.
Max?
You surely don't think there's a link between Max and Baines?
Oh, yes, I do. Baines hasn't been seen at his lodgings or any of his usual haunts for several days.
You think that points to his guilt?
Do you think I find it easy to believe? I've respected Captain Baines ever since, well, longer than I can remember.
So, Max bribed Baines to put the necklace there in the saloon. That's preposterous.
I know.
I mean, Uncle James and Max may be business rivals,
Did you
but...
know that Max has sworn vengeance for the death of his brother?
Oh, you don't believe that? I mean, Max has always been so friendly towards me. As far as I know, most charming to you, too.
Exactly.
So you think he's been using us as part of his scheming?
Yes.
You know, I suddenly feel very frightened.
On the surface, Mr. Onedin, it does look bad for us.
Of course. You mean me, don't you? I'm the prisoner, you're the solicitor.
Oh, a professional colloquialism. But I do wish you hadn't told them you were sailing for Holland.
But I was.
I mean, Holland, of all places. The very centre of the diamond trade.
Well, I told them where I was going before they found the necklace.
But the very fact that there was no other cargo aboard.
What do you mean, no other cargo? You believe that I knew the necklace was there too, do you?
Mr. Onedin, you're not being very helpful.
Neither are you, Mr. Dacres. What's the point of wasting all this time telling me that you wish I told them this and you wish I hadn't told them that? You're being no use to me at all. Thought of being locked away in this place for something I didn't do. Up to 14 years.
Yes, well, it hasn't come to that yet. Nevertheless, until we can discover how the necklace came to be in your possession, we must not belittle the gravity of your situation.
Believe me, Mr. Dacres, I do not.
Now, can you think of anyone who would want to harm you in this way?
Yes.
If I had known that you were still unwell, I would not have come.
Thank you. But I am quite recovered now.
If you will permit me to say so under these awful circumstances, you look quite as charming and beautiful as the day you came to my house in Sumatra.
Will you not sit down?
Well, I feel perhaps I should not...
Please.
Very well. I had not intended to stay, you understand, but if there is anything I can do to mitigate the anxiety of this most awful circumstance, you only have to say so, and it shall be done.
Thank you.
It must be a severe ordeal for a man like your husband, so accustomed to space and freedom and the clean salt air, to suddenly find himself imprisoned in a dank cell. Oh, forgive me. I should not...
No. No, it is quite all right. And what you say is true. For a man like James, it is indeed an ordeal. But of course, it will not be for long. He is, of course, quite innocent of the charge. I believe you blame my husband for your brother's death.
Oh, regardless of the past, at a time like this, I cannot help but feel sympathetic towards him. You see, I could very easily have succumbed to the same temptation in order to solve my financial difficulties. I realize that only too well.
Then you believe him to be guilty?
Mrs. Onedin, the shipping business is a hard world. It is a world full of both opportunities and hazards. It is also full of grave temptations. You must not blame him too much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jailer, take this man away.
By the way, Onedin, I've heard the rumor of an honor from Her Majesty the Queen. Such a shame, even if they find you innocent. I doubt if that will now be forthcoming.
Oh, enjoying this, aren't you?
I really don't know what you mean.
Oh, you know full well what I mean.
Do I? Even your own wife believes you guilty.
If anything happens to my wife because of you, I swear I'll kill you.
Don't try to threaten me, Onedin. You're not going to be in a position to harm me or anyone else for a very long time.
Captain Baines! Captain Baines! I've been looking for you for 2 days.
So I heard, Master Samuel. So I heard. But I didn't want to be fair, see? Mr. Onedin was right. I was to blame, in part, for what happened to young Tom.
Yes, well, I can understand the need for you to drown your sorrows, Captain Baines. But whilst you've been doing that, my uncle has been arrested.
Arrested? For what?
For receiving stolen property.
Stolen? I mean, they can't prove that he's...
As far as the police are concerned, possession is proof. But I'm of the opinion that Max van der Rheede is behind the whole thing.
I told Mr. Onedin I'd gone to work for van der Rheede. Spoken out of grief and spite at the time. But the truth is that I refused to work for him.
Why?
Well, he was being far too generous. And I reckon he wanted me to do something not legal.
Captain Baines, a stolen necklace was found in the ship's saloon on the day you were aboard.
Huh? So that's why you've been looking for me. You thought that I'd take...
You might have put it there. Yes, I'm sorry.
Well, there's no denying I did go aboard that day to return some Onedin property. But I went straight from my lodgings to the ship. Here. When I went aboard, I heard someone below. No, I thought it was Mr. Onedin. But he came aboard a bit later on.
Then it must have been the cook.
Cook?
He was the only crew member that Uncle James had taken on at the time. Jack Pendleton.
Pendleton? If you want whoever took that necklace aboard, you don't need to look any further. He's the finest cook on the Seven Seas, and he's the shiftiest.
Mr. Dunwoody!
Dunwoody, would you go to 24 Surrey Road?
Jack Pendleton's lodgings.
Yeah, I know. I sent a clerk along there yesterday, my lady, to pay him off and tell him he was no longer needed. Apparently he's left that address.
Damn.
Signed on another ship, you mean?
I don't know. My clerk spent the whole day making inquiries. He just, well, disappeared. I doubt he's in Liverpool now, my lady.
There must be someone who knows something about that necklace. There must be.
A few days, you said?
Huh?
The necklace. What have you done with it?
I've told you not to worry about that.
But I do. What happens when he comes back for it?
Don't worry. I'll pay him whatever he wants.
No, Max, I must have it back. You promised.
Yes, well, I'm afraid it's too late.
Too late? You've given it to another woman.
No, of course I haven't.
Here. It's nothing to do with Onedin being arrested, is it? He's going to be charged with receiving stolen jewellery, it said in the papers.
I didn't know you could read.
I'm right. Well, is it?
No, it's nothing to do with Onedin.
Well, then what have you done with it? Look, I want to know. I have a right to know.
Look, Betsy.
You don't care what happens to me. When he turns up demanding that necklace, if it's not here, he could kill me.
But I've told you, I'll take care of you.
But you won't be here, will you? Because if I weren't here either, if you took me away from here. After all, you do need someone to look after you, don't you? Well, why not?
No, it's out of the question.
Why? You could get me a nice place of my own. Then it'd only be you coming to see me. Then I wouldn't want to know about that necklace. I'd never mention it. Ever again.
You're a clever little thing, aren't you, Betsy?
Only because I'm so fond of you, Max. Well, what's your answer then? Will you take me away from here?
All right. I'll take you away. I promise.
In other words, sir, the young lady is an embarrassment to you.
Exactly. And I understand, Mr. Grogan, that you trade in the removing of such embarrassments.
If the price is right.
How much?
£50. We are talking about a permanent removal, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Very well.
When?
Today. This is her name and address.
I know this one. Good looks. Trim figure. It's a pity for it to go to waste.
Mr. Grogan, if you are thinking...
Thinking of the means, sir, that's all. Just the means. There's many ways of removal.
Just so long as it's done today.
We've all been sold. I'll never see Liverpool again.
You're not crying for any man, I hope. Cry for yourself, love, but not for any one of them. Pigs, all of them. Deceivers. Max van der Rheede. He was frightened of what I might discover, that's why I'm here. Whatever it was he'd done, I'd never have given him away. Never.
Uncle, we may know it in our hearts, but we've not one jot of evidence to point to Max.
Mr. Onedin, we are about to go into court. You are well aware of the gravity of your position, and I have little defence to offer on your behalf. Now, I've recently heard from your creditors that you have a scheme in hand that would pay off all your debts. It might be of help if we told the court what that scheme was.
I've no scheme.
Oh.
Wolves are howling at your heels. You've got to throw them something.
I see. Well, you realise, it will be pointed out, that not only are you heavily in debt, but that you have no immediate means of repaying those debts.
I'm no fool, Dacres. I know the full weight of evidence against me.
Uncle, we're not going to give up.
One way or another, I suppose a man gets what he deserves.
As we might have expected, of course, in view of the weight of evidence, Uncle James has been committed for trial at the next sessions.
And they will find him guilty.
Aunt, what are you saying? Uncle James is innocent. We all know that.
I know he is innocent. But if you are honest with yourself, Samuel, you will admit that there is a small part of you that has a doubt. I have seen it in your face.
That's absolute nonsense.
Margarita, has somebody been putting doubt in your mind? Mr. van der Rheede is here. Ask Mr. van der Rheede to come in, please, Mrs. Gibson.
Would you come in, please, Mr. van der Rheede?
Samuel. Elizabeth. Mrs. Onedin. I have just heard the decision of the magistrate. I felt I had to come to convey my deep concern and my sympathy for you at this time.
You are the vilest man I have ever known. You deem James responsible for the death of your brother, and you came here to Liverpool to wreak your vengeance upon him.
I know how you must be feeling at this time, Elizabeth, and therefore I shall not take anything you have to say too seriously, of course.
Let me tell you something, Mr. van der Rheede. In your hatred, your blind hatred, your determination to be avenged, you have revealed yourself as your brother's destroyer. I've no doubt you behave towards him as you've behaved towards this family, with one face as a smiling friend and the other a scheming enemy. Take both those faces from this house, Mr. van der Rheede, and never bring them here again.
They will find him guilty.
Pray God, no. For James, the worst torture that could ever befall him would be imprisonment.